Muy bien, feliz miércoles. Hola, bienvenidos, bienvenidas. We're going to have our time cleanse, our happy opening for the day, our happy opening. Um, this is a little minor video, but it's something that this person hears as a frequent error, and this is a 2-minute thing that may help you fix a little error that sounds weird to Spanish-speaking people. Ok, a ver. Ok, aquí. Un consejo, a piece of advice from this guy.
Errores que más se repiten entre mis estudiantes es este. La gente son, mi familia son.
Those are errors. Sí, la gente son, mi familia son.
En inglés, la gente, mi familia, es plural, pero en español no es plural, es singular, siempre. Mi familia es simpática. La gente es amable. Así que recuerda, la gente es, mi familia es.
Okay. Singular, singular. It's always mi familia. Es not mi familia. Son, it's always la gente es. Okay. Or any other verb, singular, singular. So, la gente camina. People walk. La gente nos dice. People tell us. Sí, mi familia viene mañana. My family is coming tomorrow. Apparently, and I kind of even had, because you know what? I am not always so great with everything in English grammar. You know what? Especially with British English, tends to be kind of strict. Both my family is and my family are both correct in English. The Brits are somewhat more strict on this than I. But, por ejemplo, es correcto decir en inglés, my family is coming, when you're talking about the family as a unit. But especially in British English, it is also correct to say, my family are coming, when what your intent is, the idea is that each individual member, plural, my family are coming, and you're talking about them as a plural group. This is not something you can do in Spanish, para que sepan. So you know. So there's our easy lesson for the day. Always mi familia, verbo singular. La gente, verbo singular. ¿Ok? Bien. Ok. A ver. We have many requests for little things to practice. We will.
Marilyn, sorry.
Sí,
Can I go back for a second to what
sí,
we were just
sí,
because
sí.
you guys know I do a lot of like when we're putting things together, I tend to do a lot of stuff around sports. And so I can see where team
Ah,
is like familia, equipo is like
exacto.
however, when I say if I were to say the team's name, like the Diamondbacks,
Ajá.
then in English, at least, if I wanted to say like something about what they're doing, right, I would use the plural. The Diamondbacks are playing today. And I don't know, I'm just curious kind of how that would work its way out in
Ok,
Spanish.
buena pregunta. Y depende un poquito. It depends a little bit. Ok, depends on how you phrase it. Si dices, if you say, los Diamondbacks, because they wouldn't translate that. Los Diamondbacks juegan, plural. Los Diamondbacks juegan el jueves. Diamondbacks are playing on Thursday.
Right?
Juegan, sí, because you phrase it as los Diamondbacks. See? Los Osos, the Bears. Los Vikingos, the Vikings. See? Los Seahawks. No sé. ¿Cómo se dice Seahawks en español? No, no lo sé. I don't know. If you phrase it as los, it will be plural. But el equipo juega el jueves. El equipo juega el jueves. If you use the word el equipo, it has to be singular. If you use it as los Diamondbacks, you're making them a plural group. Ah, sí, entiendes? Understand?
Yes.
Depends on how you phrase it. Yeah, depends on how you phrase it. Bien. Okay. I was interested, however, in the whole family thing to know that, yes, the Brits are somewhat stricter on this usage than we are in, I think, our side of the pond. Vale, muy bien. Here's what I want to start with, and I'm going to try to make my screen a little bit bigger. Whoop, perdón. Okay. We're going to start, para que sepan, so you know what order we're doing things in. We're going to start with this answering a question with a pronoun piece first as some, because it gives you a chance to speak in little chunks about a very isolated, simple thing. And then we're going to move on after that to our video, questions on the video, and the little questions for chatting related to the video. If we have time left over, we're going to do another little mini lesson. Okay. But we'll start with pronouns, the recuerdos, memories video, and related ideas for conversation, and maybe a follow-up mini lesson on a new topic. ¿Ok? ¿Sí? ¿Entienden? Vale, bueno, entonces, vamos a practicar con estas preguntas individuales. We're going to take these as individual pieces. Bien. And you had a chance to kind of think about these and digest it. The idea here is that these will use pronouns, okay, in the answer, and some of them even use it in the questions, some don't. But what is the point of this? The point of this is that many times we need to say we're doing something to him, a guy, to her, a gal, to them, a group of people, or somebody is doing something for me. Okay, so the thing is we are focusing on how pronouns that talk about the receiver of the action, right? What do we use and what word order will be necessary to communicate that idea. So the words that will be used will be a word like me, us, not we, but us, right? Not I, but me. Him, her, them. Okay. Maybe it. Okay. Saying me or us is not hard. It's going to be me or nos, right? If it were you, it would be te as a receiver of the action. Okay. It's the him and her and the them part that gets difficult. Okay. Because sometimes him has to be the word lo. Sometimes him has to be the word le. Sometimes her has to be la. Sometimes her has to be le. And then the plural will be los, las, or les. Okay, how do I know if it's le or la, lo? How do I know if it's le or la? If the person receiving the action, if it's an indirect thing, then it will be le. All right. And why do we say direct or indirect? Okay, for this example, if you want to call your electrician, you've got an electrician. And you're going to tell your better half or your family member, whoever. Ah, I'll call him today, right? That's a direct object. Who are you calling? You're calling him, right? So, lo, direct. Lo llamo hoy. Lo llamo hoy. I'll call him today. Uh, you ask your kid, grandkid, whoever, are you seeing your girlfriend? Are you seeing your girlfriend today? Ah, sí. La voy a ver. La voy a ver. I'm going to see. Okay, la voy a ver, or voy a verla, right? We can put it in front and back of the ver. But there it has to be a la, because who do you see? Her. It's la. Who are you calling? Electrician. Him. Lo. Those are direct things. Those verbs, those actions take a direct object. When you can answer the question, you know, who do you see or what do you see? It's got to be a direct object. Who are you calling? It's got to be a direct object. Somebody directly receives that. But if you're saying, who are you telling the joke to? If you do the thing that's being told is the joke. So now the person who's on the hearing end, the listening end of the joke is an indirect. Yeah. So it all depends on what is that action. And when you look at the action and say who or what receives it, that's a direct object. When you look at the action, and if there's a person receiving the direct object, there's the thing. If there's a person actually on the receiving end of that direct object, that's an indirect. And then it has to be that le word for a him or a her, because le doesn't have gender, okay, like lo and la do, or les if it's plural. Okay, that's tough because we don't have that distinction, except maybe to say, well, I'll tell it to him. To him makes it obvious it's indirect, right? But we also say, I'll tell him a joke. And the thing that we're not, and the thing that we're telling is not him, right? The thing that you're telling is words coming out of your mouth. That's the direct object part, right? It's tough for us as English speakers to make that distinction and to think on the fly. That is the tough thing. Okay, but when you hear it in the question, it helps you. ¿Qué le dijiste a tu esposo o tu esposa esta mañana? ¿Qué le dijiste? What did you tell? Okay, alguien quiere. Somebody want that one? ¿Qué le
Before you go
dijiste?
on,
Perdón?
can I ask a question?
Sí, 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 claro.
Okay, so I get the indirect object like when it's to someone or for someone. What about, because this came up in one of the questions that I was trying to answer, when it's with someone, do you like, because what I was wanting to say was she agreed with me. So would it be me estaba de acuerdo or estaba de acuerdo
Ah,
conmigo? Like,
agreeing
how does
with,
with fall in?
okay, with me. Okay, so here's the thing. The word me is following the word with. With is a preposition. There are, okay, here is the bad bugaboo of why we have so much trouble. Prepositions cause problems all the time. Yeah. Uh, um, there are subject pronouns, there are indirect object pronouns, there are direct object pronouns, there are prepositional pronouns. Uh-oh, my brain is now doing a big brain fart because I'm sorry, that's just bad. So there's a different class of pronouns called prepositional pronouns, and that means that they are immediately following a preposition. So what's that? Preposition is a word like Preposition is a word like con, like de, like para, like por. Okay? Like en. A, en, con, de, para, por. Those are prepositions. And prepositional pronouns are actually in some ways a little easier because, para él, for him, para ella. Ooh, it's the same as the subjects, para nosotros. But then, para mí, not para yo. Para ti, for you. So we have all these categories. Yeah. And it becomes uncomfortable, doesn't it? Because you've got to be thinking how those words string together to know which pronoun to use. But I guess we could say a better, so if you want to say with me, it's got to be not just con me, but conmigo. I know, yet another, yeah, little quirk, another wrench to throw in the works. Yeah, because you can't just say con me, it's got to be conmigo, a separate word. Yeah, and we just have to get used to that's just the way those are. Lo siento. I'm really sorry. But what we're looking at here, so if you want to say with me, that's perfectly great thing because well, often we have to say something. Ella está de acuerdo conmigo. She's in agreement with me. She agrees with me. But because we're combining it with con, it can't be a le or a les. Yeah, or any of those. In that case, it's conmigo. If it were with him, it would be con él because it's a prepositional pronoun because you're throwing in the preposition con. Yeah. I don't have any prepositions. I don't, well, I kind of do. I have an in there, but in a different way. I hope I explained that for you. See? Bien. Okay. Vamos a enfocarnos. Let's focus on just this first one. ¿Qué le dijiste? And notice these pronouns that receive action actually come in front of the verb in many, many cases. Okay? And even there, we don't have well, we do have comfortable rules, but again, we're getting into rules. Just so you want to get used to the person receiving the action actually comes before the verb. And that is a word order thing that is opposite from English, right? En inglés decimos, in English, we say, I told him. But in Spanish, it is him I told. Him I told. So you need to think in that word order. Him I told. Right? See? ¿Qué le dijiste a tu esposo, a tu esposa esta mañana? ¿Alguien quiere empezar? Anybody want to start with an answer for this? ¿Qué le dijiste? Mariana, sí.
This is one I've had trouble with too, so it's a good one
Okay.
for. Le dije a que voy a clase. Now, so I don't understand why it's le though, because I told him. Who did you tell? I told him. So why
Yes.
wouldn't it be lo?
But he didn't come out of your mouth. What it's the nature of the verb. The nature of what that action is changes. Well, doesn't change, determines if it uses only a direct object, an indirect or a direct, both together. Okay. What was told? A joke, news, an address, a phone number, something was told. But the thing that was told is the direct object. Somebody received that information that was told. That's
So
the
it's really
indirect.
kind of to him I told.
Right. Can you change it to I told it to him? And does it make sense to that? Does that idea make sense in English? Yes, then it's indirect. But see, yeah, this is why, because yes, you can say, who did I tell? But the nature of that verb tell means that there's something being said, and husband is not the thing being said.
Mm.
Whereas I know, isn't this uncomfortable?
It is.
Okay, now the reason we started with decir is because it is so common to hear this combination.
Okay.
Le dijo, le dije, le dije, I told him. Le dije, same combination, I told her. Le dije, I told her. Le dije, also, I told him. But I told him something. Tell, the nature of that action, it's whatever is the direct object is some kind of information, joke, something. But that's not the indirect. So the person receiving that information, joke, news item, bit of gossip, that's the indirect. All right. Decir almost always needs an indirect object because we always, when we're communicating, it's almost always that we're including in that who we told something to because we don't talk into the void. If you, yeah, we have that idea in English. I scream into the void because you're frustrated about something, but you're talking at nobody when you do that, right? And when we talk with people, we're telling something to somebody. And that's always an indirect. So, okay, what's the takeaway? The takeaway I would say is, you know what, on a practical level, I would say to myself, decir and dar, those two, if you do nothing else, know those two verbs. I could also say, oh, I'll give him the keys, right? But see, it's more obvious with give.
Mm-hmm.
You could say, who am I giving the keys? And it's him, but him is not a direct object. With give, it's the nature of the action. With tell or say, the nature of that action means there are words coming out of your mouth, and the words coming out of your mouth, whatever they represent, they're not a human being. Okay. Similarly, if I give the keys to somebody, who do I give it? Well, I give it to him, but the thing I'm giving away is not him, right? The thing I'm giving away is an object of something, some sort, and that is the direct object. But somebody gets that direct object, right? Whoever gets that direct object, that's the indirect. That's the le or the les. And notice, we never really questioned that with mete nos. You always get that right. Mete nos, you can always get right. Always. It's the le and the les that are the big screw ups. Okay. And for us in English, and it's because we don't, English operates in a different way, both in word order, and we don't change the word him. Yeah. Tell him, indirect. Call him, direct. They both use him in English, but in Spanish, they need a different kind of pronoun. In English, him is both direct and indirect. So I don't need an extra different kind of word to distinguish. I need an extra different word to distinguish in Spanish. That's our English speaker problem. Okay. I understand your question, Mariana. It's a perfectly
Okay.
logical question. It is. It's perfectly logical. See, Lori.
So with Yamar, should you always have a direct object pronoun before it? Kind of like you need the indirect,
Like with dar?
like with dar and decir?
Dar and decir, dar and decir, dar and decir. We all the time, like what they're high frequency verbs. You'll hear them a lot and need to use them a lot in conversation. And those two are almost always, like 99.9% of the time. There's always an exception. 99.9% of the time, dar and decir are going to need a le or a les to talk about him or her or them.
But is llamar like that with a direct
Llamar,
object?
llamar is
Because it
llamar
takes the
is
direct
usually just
object.
direct because you're calling somebody. Who are you reaching out to? When I say I'm calling somebody, I might be calling them on a device and I might be calling out the door like my mom used to do because she knew I was out playing somewhere. Hey, supper time. That's also llamar,
But
right?
if I
That's
say I'm going to call Carrie, do I have to have the pronoun and Carrie's name also?
Yes,
ah,
that's what
I'm
my
gonna call
question
Carrie.
was.
Doesn't use a pronoun.
And I think I saw that in my notes back here from
Yeah,
2
I'm gonna
years
call
ago. I don't on
right.
that one.
I don't. But with the le, you do. With the
Right.
le, you do name. So, okay. Uh, uh, voy a llamar a Carrie. I'm going to call Carrie. I'm not using a pronoun. Carrie. I'm going to call her. La voy a llamar. Or just la llamo. La llamo. La llamo. La llamo más tarde. I'll call her later. La llamo. La llamo. Okay? La llamo. Because now I'm saying her and it's replacing her actual name. Yeah, I'm not saying Carrie. But if you're gonna give Carrie $5.
Oh, okay.
You owe Carrie $5, right? She bought you a coffee, you owe her $5. Okay? So I'm giving Carrie $5. You will usually hear with the redundant, both the le and her name, if it's unclear. Let's say it's unclear. Le doy a Carrie $5. Le doy.
Okay.
Or le di, to say it in the past. I gave, right? Gave instead of give. Le di $5 a Carrie. And that le will often repeat the a carry if from context it isn't clear. You might drop the a carry if it's clear, and it depends on what you said before that sentence.
Right.
Was
Okay.
it clear? Okay. Por ejemplo, for example, Carrie me compró una taza de café. Carrie me compró. For me, she bought. And notice we don't get the me mixed up. Yeah. Carrie me compró una taza de café. She bought me a cup of coffee. Ah, le di $5. I gave her $5. And you don't need to repeat the Carrie because we already know you're talking about Carrie in the sentence before that.
Okay.
So everything is really dependent on the context.
Carrie just went to get her wallet.
Yay! Okay. Es complicado. It is complicated though. But if you take away nothing else, work on these two verbs, dar and decir. Dar and decir. Dar and decir are always going to have to say him or her a le. They just will. Okay. And if you get that right, those are the high frequency verbs. Actually, comprar also, because you buy something for somebody quite often, right? So certain verbs are used more commonly than others, okay? And those are the ones to get used to and get used to it from the pattern. And the pattern is in the question with these. So, you've got a little bit of a gimme because there's really, unless I do an English to, which I don't like to do an English to Spanish translation. Yeah. I like you to think of it in terms of answering this question because this is the real life situation. Somebody asks you the question. ¿Qué le dijiste a tu esposo? ¿Qué le dijiste? ¿Qué le dijiste? So, Mariana, how would you answer what you told? Oh, and you're on mute.
I'm sorry. So I said, I told in English?
No, en
No.
español.
Oh, I said, le dije que voy a clase.
Le dije que voy a clase. I told him that I'm going to class. Le dije que, I told him that, and then whatever the information is, right?
Right.
Le dije que voy a clase. Le dije que necesito ayuda. I told him that I need help.
So I do have, in my notes, I have that the indirect object reflects the verb. Is that correct?
The indirect object tells who's on the receiving end of the verb.
Okay.
It does not tell you anything about who's doing it. It tells you nothing about who's doing it. The verb always tells you who's doing it.
Okay.
Yeah? The le or the les tells you who's on the receiving end.
Okay.
Yeah? And really, if it were a lo or la, it's still on the receiving end, but it depends on, we have to know the nature of that action conveyed by the verb. There's the uncomfortable part for English speakers, okay? Because we have very little, we have fewer clues, because we use the same pronouns and we don't split them off into direct and indirect. It's tougher for us. Okay. Otro ejemplo. ¿Qué le dijiste a tu esposo? And the reason I want lots of examples is the more you hear an example, the more correct examples you hear, the more it cements the right pattern. We want to cement the right pattern. ¿Sí? Okay. Bien. Bueno, Nora.
Le dije a Bob que necesitamos leche.
Le dije a Bob que necesitamos leche. I told Bob we needed milk. Eso, sí. Eso. Bien, bien, perfecto. Otro ejemplo, otro ejemplo. Bueno, Lori.
Le dije a mi esposo, ¿te despiertas? Are you awake? Is that correct?
Estás, I told him, are you awake? Is that what you're
I
saying?
asked him. I said to
I told-
him, are you awake?
I said to him, are you awake? Okay. Le dije,
So-
I said to him, le dije, estás despertado. Are you awake? Estás despertado. Bien. Ok. Bien. Perfecto. Otro ejemplo. Marcos.
Before I do this, I just want to go back and ask I think it's an obvious question now, but like in the question that you've asked us, the a tu esposo or a esposa, so we know you're asking us to say that what did you say to someone, that otherwise there's no context of who you're saying it to. But in our responses, am I correct in saying we really don't need the a mi esposa?
No, you don't. Now, the Bob with Nora was maybe okay because Nora might think, hey, somebody in the group might not know my husband's name, so I'll just put his name in instead of esposo, his actual name.
Right, but that's just to make to specify the context there. Okay,
Sí,
good. So back to what we're doing here now.
sí, sí.
Le dije que voy a desayunar en casa.
Eso sí. Bien. Perfecto. Perfecto. Información, it's information stuff. That's what you're including after the dije, I said. ¿Sí? Bueno. Otro ejemplo. Carrie, sí.
So le dije que tenía que hacer trabajo en esta mañana.
Aha, I told him that I had work to do. Yeah. Le dije que tenía trabajo. Eso, sí, sí, sí. Le dije a Kevin que tengo que ir a la veterinaria a la 1 hoy. Bien, ok. Bueno, otro ejemplo con esta pregunta. Any other example with this question? Right? The more patterns we hear, the more it cements it in your brain. And keep in mind, decir, dar, decir, dar. You know, if you want to say told him, gave her, told her, you need a le. Yeah, just get used to that pattern. And the other verbs will slowly, you'll be, oh, okay, yeah, because we did it with the other verb. But the dar and the decir are just, you hear them every day, you hear them every day. That's what we want to do. Okay, okay. Segundo ejemplo, segundo ejemplo. También muy, muy común. Oh, y aquí, esto es fácil. This one's easy. ¿Qué te compró tu familia? What did your family buy you? ¿Qué te compró tu familia? What for you did they buy? That's the word order we need. What for you, the te part, did the family buy? See, y fíjense, notice familia singular. So we've got a past verb, but it's just a onesie verb because familia is a unit, yeah? ¿Qué te compró tu familia? What did your family buy you? And dice, bueno, ¿qué? Esto es fácil. This one is because you don't have a leerles. Carrie.
I hope I got this right because I started out with mi sobrina rather than just family because me
Bien.
so
You
yeah,
are being specific. Bueno.
mi sobrina me compró una bolsa de yoga en diciembre.
Sí. Pero, ok, fíjate, notice, mi sobrina me compró, not me compro. Me compro means something very different than me compró. Okay. So how you say that one is particularly important, right? It's the emphasis on the syllable. Yeah. Me compro means I'm buying it for myself. And people will say that, you know, oh, I'm getting a coffee for myself. Me compro, right? So if you don't do it as a compro, yeah, it'll come out as a different message, right? Mi sobrina me compró, me compró. But we need to punch that O at the end a little bit more, okay? Bien? ¿Sí? ¿Entiendes? Muy bien. Okay, I knew what you meant, but a native listener would do a ba-bum because wait a minute, I thought it was sobrina. And yeah, and I heard compro. Okay, Nora.
So then going a little further, if I wanted to say, you already know I got candy or something, or I want to say they bought it for me. Is it me los compró? They bought them for me?
It depends on what the thing was that they bought.
Okay,
If it's
like I use
dulces,
regalos,
los.
or they
If
bought
it's
gifts for me.
me los
Okay,
compró, me los compró,
okay,
me los compró. For me, them, they bought. Yeah. For me, them, they bought. I know that's a strange word order, but that's the word order they think in. Okay. We don't think in that word order. We have to learn to think in that word order. Me
okay.
los compró. They bought them for me. Okay. But now, just answering with a los in that for that specific question would still be a little confusing because los could be a lot of different things, right?
That's right. That was
Yeah.
assuming, somebody asked me, who bought you those gifts?
Yeah, they've got to know what that object is first,
Yeah,
right? It's like your better half walk in there and saying, "I've got them," and you look
yeah,
and say, "What?"
yeah, right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
them with no context can be tough unless we have a previous sentence that makes that context clear. Okay, ¿qué te compró tu familia? What did your family buy for you? Lori.
Mi mamá no me compró nada, pero me envió dinero.
Perfecto. Me envió, sent me envió dinero, ¿sí? And here's another example. Mariana sent me envió, me envió. I am not the thing being sent through the mail. What was being sent? I was not being sent. Yeah. Uh, uh, and I would use this. This is how my 15-year-olds in class used to figure it out. They would use comprar this way, send and or bake. Yeah. I baked him cookies, and I'd have kids say, lo for baked, but you're baking them for him. And I'd say, you put him in the oven? No. You know, I bought him a car. I bought him, lo compró. Lo talks about the car. Lo, you're not buying him. I'd say, no slaves in this room. Ain't nobody buying a human being, okay? Ain't nobody buying a human being. So we have to make sure we get that direct and indirect right, right? And I tell you, focus on dar and decir because they're like the two highest frequency, but comprar is one of those too. Okay. And sent me is same thing. I am not the thing being sent. I am receiving whatever package, yeah, was sent. So it's the nature of the verb that determines, are we dealing with a direct object or an indirect? The indirect always gets the direct. Indirect always gets the direct, right? If I throw the ball to him, I'm not throwing him through the air. I'm throwing the ball. Who gets the ball? He does. That's the indirect. There you go. Sometimes we have to use like an almost silly thing. I'm not heaving a person through the air. So, yeah. Bien. Ok. ¿Qué te compró? Otro ejemplo con qué te compró. Bueno, Jan.
Me compraron muchos regalos en diciembre.
Okay. Me compró muchos regalos. And there, no second pronoun because you're defining what was bought. Muchos regalos. Bien. Vale.
So,
Sí,
just a
Mariana.
question.
Oh,
Just a question on this one. On this one, I did use me compraron because and it came out as being okay as far as checking it.
and that works because the thing was mi familia, right? But when you answer, it would be okay. They bought me, meaning many people. That
Okay.
works. That works. Yeah. Bien, bien. Okay. Vale. Sí, siguiente, next or hay
Just
otro ejemplo. Bueno, Marco, sí.
mi hija me compró una nueva bolsa transparente para ir a partidos.
Oh, sí, porque para ir a los partidos de béisbol se
Or
necesita
almost
unir.
anything else now.
Sí, para entrar en un estadio, sí, para un partido, hay que tomar una bolsa de plástico, ¿sí?
Yeah, I was looking for the word for clear, which is, it's always called a clear bag policy, and it came up like transparent,
Transparente.
transparente.
Sí, sí. Una bolsa, sí, una bolsa de plástico, una bolsa transparente. Transparente, yeah, clear bag. Bien. Yeah. The word for clear is claro, but claro doesn't work. Transparente does, because transparente means see-through, and that's the intent, yeah? Bueno, otro ejemplo, otro ejemplo. ¿Qué te compró? ¿Qué te compró? Bueno, sí, Kristen.
Okay. Mi familia me compró una taza de café. But I
Yay.
have a question. We could use dar conjugation as well here.
Sure you could. Oh, sí, qué buena pregunta. What a good question. So let's see how that works. So sometimes, and we do this in English all the time. If it makes sense, you can do it. Yes. When you answer that question, ¿qué te compró tu familia? You might say, my family gave me instead of bought me. Yeah, you might, and give. Yeah. Mi familia me dio. Mi familia me dio. My family gave me. And then whatever it is, the item. See? Mi familia me dio una tarjeta para Amazon, por ejemplo, ¿sí? Mi familia me dio una tarjeta de regalo, a gift card, una tarjeta de regalo a Starbucks. ¿Ok? Algo así. Bien. Can you change compró to dio? Well, it conveys the same idea. Those two verbs are different verbs, but they answer the same idea. So yes, I bless that. That works. Okay. Bien. Totally understandable. We want to be understood. That's the only thing. Yeah. There are many correct ways to answer a question quite often. Bien. Vale. Otro ejemplo con compró, ¿o no? Okay. Siguiente. And here's one, Mariana. This would not be like in my top examples for frequency words, but it's an example that uses a le. ¿Qué le prometiste a tu amigo? ¿Qué le prometiste? What did you promise to him or to her? Yeah. And the thing you're promising is, it could be an object, it could be an action, it could be many things, right? But you promise something, a direct idea, to somebody. There is the indirect, and that's why we have a le with prometer. ¿Qué le prometiste? ¿Qué le prometiste? ¿Qué le prometiste? ¿Qué le prometiste? What did you promise?
This one I probably got wrong. I said, prometí visitarlos este verano.
Les prometir, les
Promet-
prometí, I promised them. ¿Sí?
Visitarlos I use.
A
Visitarlos.
visitarlos, a visitarlos. Les prometí, I promised them
Okay.
a visitarlos.
So
¿Sí?
that's got a direct and an indirect in it, right?
Yeah, it is. Because you have a visitar. Sí. Ok, bien. Otro ejemplo. ¿Qué le prometiste? Bueno, Carrie, sí.
I have le prometió dar una pelota.
Okay, prometió would mean they promised.
Oh, okay.
If you have I promised, it's prometí.
Right, okay, right.
Le prometí. ¿Sí?
And is it, and then dar una pelota?
Sí, ok, sí. Bien, bien.
Okay.
Otro ejemplo, otro ejemplo. Nora, sí.
Le prometí cocinar mañana.
Promise them to
Mañana.
cook. Sí, bien, bien. Fantástico. Kathleen.
Le prometí que vamos a viajar a los Olympics.
Bien,
Oh,
perfecto, perfecto. ¿Sí? Promise that we're going to do something. Eso, sí, bien.
Although, actually, I'm wondering, late, should I have used the subjunctive there? I promised that.
The that is just drawing in whatever activity it is. That's all.
Okay, so no subjunctive needed.
The que means I've got a tag on. Yeah, it's the activity or the thing or the object or yeah, the action, whatever it is. Sí. Bueno, otro ejemplo. Otro ejemplo.
So review again about how Marianne's, I promised them I would visit them. Those are the two different kinds of thems.
Sí, because who do you visit? It's got to be a human being there. I mean, it could be a place, but
Okay.
yeah, there it clearly means a human being. And that's a direct, like make a call is direct.
Okay.
Yeah. See,
But on
right.
that note though, can I just say I promise them, like the visitarlos, leave
Les,
the indirect?
sí, les prometí. There are a few ways you can do it. Les prometí a visitar más tarde o la semana que viene, whatever time limit.
Hmm.
See?
Could you
Dime.
just say, I promised to visit them? So prometí a visitarlo.
Visitarlos. Then you need visit them. We need another them there, probably. But you know what? The visitar, your idea would be communicated. You would at least not be confusing anybody, even if you didn't include the second them. I wouldn't get too hung up on that. See, Larry.
So if it answers the question, who or what, it's a direct object. If it answers to who or for who, it's
It's
an
indirect.
indirect. Are there any other questions that for the
Nope.
indirect, or is it to who and or for who?
Nope. That's pretty much it.
So just those,
Yep.
just ask yourself which and okay.
Yep. But when we speak in real life, we're not asking ourselves those questions. That's why it's tough. Because your idea is to get the idea out. And that's why I say it's good to, as a primer, as a first plan of attack, get used to those high frequency verbs like dar and decir, okay? But they're always going to have a le attached to them somehow if you're doing it for a person. See, Carrie?
Could you say that again? So if it's to whom,
Or for
for
whom.
whom it's a direct.
If
Is that
it's
right?
to whom or for whom, it's indirect.
Okay.
To whom or for whom. Okay? See. And that's why with decir, what I tell them is some nugget piece of information. Yeah. And that's the direct. But the person receiving that nugget of information, that's the indirect because it's for them. See, eso. Okay. And we're going to take one of our high frequency verbs next. High frequency, dar, yeah. Diste, D-I, doesn't sound like it comes out of dar, but it does. ¿Qué le diste? What did you give? ¿Qué le diste a tu hijo, a tu hija, a tu amigo, a tu amiga? We're going to pick some human being. ¿Qué le diste? What did you give? Por ejemplo, voy a empezar aquí. Le di a mi hijo un par de guantes de trabajo, work gloves, guantes de trabajo, ¿ok? Le di, I gave him, le di un par de guantes, le di unos guantes de trabajo, por ejemplo. ¿Qué le diste? What did you give? Marcos.
I don't know quite why, but I decided to do this as what did we give? Hopefully, okay.
You could, you might, yeah, that might work.
Le dimos un cheque a nuestra hija.
Bien, bien. Un regalo ideal en muchas situaciones. Sí, le dimos un cheque o le di un cheque. Bien, bien. Bueno, otra idea, another idea. Ah, Nora, sí.
Le di una camiseta a Bill.
Bien, bien, perfecto. Bueno, ¿qué más? ¿Algo más? ¿Dar en decir? Sí. Bueno, Jan.
Le di a mi amiga algunos dulces.
Sí, le di unos dulces. Gave her some sweets, some candies. ¿Sí? Bien, perfecto. Bueno, ¿otra idea o no? Okay. Dar en decir, or I'm sorry, yeah, dar en decir, dar en decir, dar en decir. Okay. Next, however, we are going to throw in a different kind of example. When I ask, ¿a dónde llevaste? Where did you take? To what place did you take? ¿A dónde llevaste a tu hijo, a tu hija, a tu amigo? Some human being. The point of this is some human being in your household or your friend group. Any one human being. That's the point of that little phrase, a tu hijo or a tu hija, a tu amigo, a tu esposo, a tu esposa. ¿Sí? ¿A dónde llevaste? Where did you take? Meaning you gave him a car ride. You gave him a car ride somewhere, right? Where did you take them? Or maybe, well, okay, maybe you took them on the bus, but you probably packed them in the car. ¿A dónde llevaste? Where did you take them? And in this case, like llamar, right? This one is direct. So I took him or I took her is not le. Right? It's the nature of that verb take, meaning you transported somebody. In this case, the transporting is not to them, you are transporting them. We need a direct object. It's got to be a me, te, nos, a lo, or a la, or a los, or a las. It's got to be a direct object. Llevar needs a direct object. When you say, where did you take somebody? Well, we also want to know a location, right? So we're answering the a dónde part as well. But this becomes a word that indicates one human being. And it's direct. This is direct. Okay. ¿A dónde llevaste? Where did you take? Sí, Carrie.
I guess lo llevé a la aeropuerto a mi esposo.
Lo, and no esposo here. Lo llevé. Him I took.
Okay.
And that one's very direct. When you say take, as in a car ride, that's very direct. It's got to be a lo or a la, a los or a las, if you transported more than one person. Okay? Lo
And you
llevé.
don't need, and you can't have the a mi esposo?
No,
Because
direct
of the
objects will not, direct
Okay.
objects will not take the a. The redundant a and a name, a Bob, a mi esposo, a tagged on to a name, that we pair up with a le. Yeah. Or a les if it's plural. Bien? Okay. Lo llevé al aeropuerto. I took him to the airport. Okay. Otro ejemplo. Lori, sí.
Lo llevé al Museo de Instrumentos Musicales para ver un show de Navidad. La pasamos bien. And did I say we had a good time, right? La pasamos bien?
La pasamos bien. We had a good
Okay,
time.
I finally got that one.
Sí, la pasamos bien. We passed well. Yeah, we passed well. Yeah, we had a good time. Eso, exacto, exacto. Bueno, Jan? I thought I saw your hand up. ¿Sí?
Lo llevé a su oficina.
Lo llevé a su oficina. I took him to his office. Perfecto. Bien, bien. Otro ejemplo. Bueno, Mariana.
Las llevé a Hawaii hace 2 años.
Bien. Okay. Took him to Hawaii. And if it's a group of gals, it's a las. If it's a group of guys or a mixed group, it's los. Bien, perfecto. Bueno, otro ejemplo. ¿No? ¿Nada? Bien. Okay.
And
Vale.
I get kind of confused on that one. The verb llevaste, I somehow was thinking that was a reflexive TE, and I thought I needed me lo llevé. But
Llevar, llevar can be reflexive, but then it kind of changes the meaning a little bit. It doesn't mean take, but llevarse is to get along with.
okay,
Yeah. So making it reflexive is possible, but then you're changing the
not
meaning
here.
of the verb. Yeah.
Okay.
Eso es. Bien. Ok. A ver, adelante, adelante, adelante. And now we've got, this comes from the verb ver. The nature of ver is see. We're talking about something that is perceived or somebody that is perceived. There is only one way, there is only one kind of object that ver can have. You don't see something to somebody. Okay, ver can only take a direct object. That's it. So even though it's a human being, right? It's got to be a lo, a la, a los, or a las. You saw him or you saw it. Lo vi. You saw her or you saw it. La vi. Saw them. Los vi. If it's a feminine group, las vi. All right. Ver, the nature of that verb, see, it only takes a direct object. We cannot use le or les with that. Okay. So, cuando viste a tus amigos? Cuando viste? When did you see? Cuando viste? ¿Sí? Bueno, Lori.
I answered it a little differently.
Okay.
I didn't use the law, but hoy voy a ver mi amiga. And do I need the A there, or do I just need
Voy a ver a mi amiga.
a mi amiga? Okay. Que se mudó a Suecia para asistir a la universidad. Se convierte en una enfermera de anestesia. ¿Y
Wow.
y por qué ella es de Islandia? La asiste por gratis.
Wow. Interesante. Ok.
Good. Es bueno estar en the European Union.
A la Unión Europea. La Unión Europea. UE, UE. Instead of EU. La Unión Europea. Sí. Hay muchos beneficios por ser miembro de la Unión Europea. Sí. Ok. Otra vez, la pregunta es, ¿cuándo viste a tus amigos? Ok. Por ejemplo, en mi caso, ¿cuándo viste a tus amigos? Los vi los vi el fin de semana para desayunar. I saw them last weekend for breakfast. ¿Sí? I saw them, los vi para desayunar. Bien. Otro ejemplo. ¿Cuándo? When? When we need a timeline too to answer that, right? Sí, Nora?
I'm looking back in my little folder from April of 2024. And I started some notes that I didn't finish, but your comment just then led me to ask this question. I have written down here verbs that only have direct objects, but then I must have got distracted and I never filled that in. But
Ah.
you've given me ver. Are there others that you can
Do we
think of?
want examples? Yes. Let's think about that. Let's brainstorm. Some verbs only take a direct object, and that's kind of it. You see something or somebody, ver. You invite somebody, invitar. You call somebody. Unless okay, I could be uncomfortable here and say, that might change a little if I call him and you're like naming a baby or something. That's a little different. But, yeah, but what do we usually talk about? We don't talk about naming your new dog as often as you say you're going to call somebody, right? So we're
Right.
looking for what do I usually use? What I usually use is I call a human being. Llamar directo, right? Llamar is direct, more direct. And some, of course, some verbs take both a direct and an indirect, but verbs that only take a direct, I don't know, let's brainstorm. Call, see, invite. I cannot say pay because I pay something to somebody. I
How about hit?
It might be buy if I just say what I buy.
Right.
Yeah. If I only talk about what I am buying, then buy, but might
Was
not.
that you, Kathleen? Hit?
Yeah, although maybe that's not right because could be hit by something. He was hit by a ball or something like that. So I guess that one doesn't work.
Yeah. You play an instrument. That can only be direct. Yeah. You play a game. The sport you name is an it. Yeah.
So are you playing, is that tocar then, or?
Tocar, tocar instrumento. Jugar un deporte, un juego, for games and sports. Jugar.
How about
For
ayudar?
instruments, tocar. Right? What else can only be direct? Yeah,
Ayudar?
it's kind of a small list.
Ayudar?
Ayudar is kind of a funky thing. Let's leave that for later. But ayudar, okay. Okay. Oh, well, because I want to go over the things that are, but ayudar is often direct. Ayudar is often direct. Yes, often. You do hear it used with le, though. I'm just going to say that's a funky thing. Okay. Here's another one that is direct. Estudiar. You study a thing, right? You study some kind of topic, right? Leer. Oh, no, I can't even say leer because you might read a thing to somebody. Maybe. If I only talk about the thing I'm reading, then I could say leer. But sometimes, I read the newspaper article to my kids. Yeah, maybe. I read the story to my grandkids. Yeah, that can have both. That can have both. Yeah, a lot of verbs might take both direct and indirect. Um, yeah, this becomes uncomfortable, doesn't it? But it was a good topic it's a good topic to ponder because we struggle with this in English. We really do. Things that are only direct. Wow. I can't even say bake. I bake something maybe for somebody. I cook something for somebody. It might take both, right? So it depends on that idea we're communicating. I guess that's the bottom line. You might think, but commonly you only see a person or a thing. It's direct. Yeah. You call a person or an office of some kind. It's direct. Bien. Okay. Pa, 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 pam. A ver, adelante. Adelante. ¿Qué te contó? ¿Qué te contó? What did he or she, your best friend, whether it's a gal or a guy? That the contó is and not it's not conto, it's contó, told. All right. What did your friend tell you? See? Okay. ¿Qué te contó tu mejor amigo? Mi mejor amigo, un ejemplo mío, an example of mine. Mi mejor amigo me contó que su esposa tomó Ozempic. Ma- ah, ah! my best friend told me his wife's taking Ozempic. Sí. Mi mejor amigo me contó, he told me que su esposa toma Ozempic. Wow, chisme, gasp, chisme. Ok, bien. Bueno, otra idea, otra idea. Bueno, Lori.
And I actually didn't read the question right, so I did it as I told her, but le conté que estoy cabreada que los Steelers contrataron a Mike McCarthy. Es demasiado viejo y un horrible entrenador, y también ahora Aaron Rodgers se queda.
Ok, bien. Me contó las quejas, the complaints, sí. Las quejas de, bueno, de las cosas de fútbol. Ok, bien.
Did I use Cicada right, saying that now Aaron Rodgers
Staying,
is staying?
sí,
So did I say that right?
se
Okay.
queda, staying, se queda, sí. Is remaining, sí. Or it might be used as se queda or just queda. Sí, just staying. Sí. Bien. Bueno, Jan. Oh, no, nada. Ok. Bueno, otro ejemplo. ¿No? ¿Nada? Ok.
No.
Oh, sí.
I'm just, might as well. Me cantó sobre una fiesta y me la invitó.
Y me la invitó.
She told me about a party and she invited me to it.
Me invitó. Just me invitó.
But oh, so I don't need to say she
The
invited
to
me
it
to
is
it.
never spoken. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Y me invitó.
Me
Me
invitó.
invitó. He invited me.
Okay.
And really, in Spanish, they will not have a to it.
Okay.
Yeah, because that's understood. Me invitó. Y me invitó. Me contó sobre una fiesta en su casa y me invitó. Me invitó. Bien. Bueno.
So the to whom or for whom, it always has to be a person. It's never to it. It's never something abstract.
What, the invite?
For the indirect object, like you said, so to whom or for whom gets an indirect object, but to it never does.
That, yeah. Yeah. Well, in that case, yeah. I'm trying to think of another case that would be like that. It's not coming to mind, but
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
I might be
Yeah. In that
overthinking it.
case, they just don't say to it. They'll just say invited me. See?
Oh,
Okay, but how about an example of like I gave whatever to the dog.
I gave it to the dog.
Yeah, I gave, I gave a bone to the dog.
I gave
So,
it to somebody needs an indirect.
right, so it could be an it rather than a person thing.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. See. See. Or I paid a fee to the bank.
Right.
It
Yeah.
still needs an indirect, right?
Yeah.
Because somebody received that payment. Sí, eso es, sí.
Now
Bien.
I have another question.
Okay.
I have in my notes that the indirect is always a person.
Indirect is almost always a person. It could be an institution, but that's not
Okay.
all the time. That's when you're talking about financial things, right? Yeah. It's almost always going to be a human being. A direct object can be a person or a thing. An
Right.
indirect object has to be a person,
Okay.
has
It
to be
could
a
be,
human being.
could it be a dog?
It could be a dog,
Okay.
because you know what? In Spanish, we almost consider them almost on the people level.
Okay. All right, thank you.
We use the a personal with our doggies too. Quiero a mi perro. I love my doggy. Quiero a mi perro. It needs an a personal. Animals are close and personal in Spanish. They are. Okay. Bien. Carrie.
So yeah, I too read the question wrong, so I had to correct it now. Um, so I have me cantó que me visitó. Is it visitó? Like she's going to visit. She told me she's going to visit me.
That she's going to visit me. Okay, me contó que. She told me that. That's good. But now, she's going to visit me. We have to put it out in the future. Not that she told me that she visited me.
Mhm.
No,
No.
she told me she's going to. Me contó que me va a visitar. Me contó que me va a visitar.
Okay. Going
Eso.
to. Okay.
¿Sí? ¿Entiendes? And there you're shifting from one time, one conjugation to a different time, therefore a different
Right.
conjugation. Sí.
Okay.
Me contó que me va a visitar. She told me that she's going to visit me. Eso sí. Perfecto. Perfecto. Ok. Vale. Bien. Am, otro ejemplo. Otro ejemplo. Siguiente. La última. We're going to take this last one. And this last one is last because it is complicated. It is a weird structure, but it's a weird structure that you should know about. Because if you want to talk about something that broke, then that is an accidental event. That's a special kind of structure. So sometimes, not often, but certain kinds of ideas, like the idea of breaking stuff, right, might use a double pronoun here. This is a double pronoun, this sete. This is a weirdo thing. Some of you may remember it, some of you may not, right? But this double pronoun thing is used for accidental or it's the oops kind of verbs, and break is something, yeah. Unless you purposely break something in anger. Yeah, if you purposely break something in anger, it is romper, right? But if it's an oops, they use a double pronoun because that takes away responsibility. That says, not my bad. I didn't mean to. Okay? So, ¿qué se te rompió? What broke on you? And we're going to need a se. So we're going to take a look at a couple of examples here. I'm going to lead you in with some examples here before we give some responses, because I have two ways to ask the question. ¿Qué se te rompió? What broke on you, literally, recently, recientemente, o que se le rompió a tu amigo, or what broke on your friend, literally, okay? Meaning something happened by accident, and when that thing happened, it was unintended, it was unforeseen. So it's always going to have a se in the answer. Okay, por ejemplo, se me rompió la lavadora. La lavadora y, mejor, better. La secadora, because that's really a thing that broke. La secadora. The dryer. Se me rompió la secadora. The dryer went and broke itself on me. Not my fault. I didn't pick up the dryer and smash it to the floor to shatter into 1,000 pieces. It just died. Okay? And if it just died on me, it's se me rompió. It went and it broke itself on me. Se me rompió. This is a common structure. But if it broke on somebody else, then it cannot be se me. If something broke for my friend, it has to become a se le. Se le rompió. Notice the se part always stays the same, no matter who that second pronoun is. The se. The se indicates oops. The job of the word se there is to say oops, or not my fault, right? And the second pronoun tells who it happened to. This is a common thing with certain types of verbs, and we're not going to go into all of them this week, but that romper is a common one because something breaks on somebody. So, se le rompió Se le rompió su o el celular. Cell phone broke for my friend, right? Se le rompió. The rompió, the verb looks at the object that broke because bad object. It's all its fault.
Madeline, it's a little noisy, so I'll get my question out and then go back on mute. So this could be used either if I or somebody accidentally broke something or it just broke.
Eso es. You got it.
Okay.
Eso es. Sí. Bueno, Kathleen.
Would it be proper to say una ventana se le rompió a mi amiga?
Sí, se le
Okay.
rompió la ventana. Se le rompió la ventana a mi amiga. Sí. Perfecto. My friend's window broke. Se le rompió la ventana a mi amiga. Sí. Lori.
It's a little complicated because I'm talking about replacing my air conditioner in the future, and then I have some subjunctive. So let me just tell you what I
Okay.
have. Todavía no, pero este año necesitamos reemplazar, replace el acondicionador de aire. Es vieja, tiene 27 años. Here's where
Wow.
it gets a little complicated. No quiero que, and is it se le rompa? And I did that subjunctive. En el verano, cuando la temperatura esté 115 o más y no haya a nadie disponible a regarlo.
Eso sí. Ok. Bien. Perfecto, perfecto. No quiero, I don't want. So here's what she wants to say. And this is something we often say. I don't want it to break on me in the summer. Right? No
Sí.
quiero. Whoop. Ay, otra vez. No quiero que se me rompa. I don't want that it should break on me. And that is sometime, maybe, we don't know, maybe in the future. So that needs a subjunctive. No quiero que se me rompa, en pleno verano, in the middle of the summer. See? Etc. with all the rest. So let's like take it down to the essence, right? No quiero que se me rompa en pleno verano. I don't want it to break down in the middle of the summer. ¿Sí? ¿Bien?
Sí. So
Se me
all of
rompa,
that
sí.
sentence would, everything should be in subjunctive because we don't know if anything, like we
It's in
don't know if
subjunctive
someone's
because
available.
I don't want it to do something. And it's not saying I don't want to replace. That needs no subjunctive because I'm doing the replacing. But I don't want it to break. And it breaking is not in my control, right? It's I want something else to happen, or I want something else not to happen, right?
And is it still like esté, like, or is it regarding like the temperature because you don't know when it's going to be, and Aya because
See,
you don't know if there's someone available?
that
Like,
that
does
can
it
go
all
either
have to
way
be?
if the idea you want to convey is that it might be 120, you can use subjunctive for that part too. If you want to say that ding dang well, it's going to be 120, you might use indicative.
Okay.
Bien, depende. Depends on the idea you're communicating. ¿Sí? Bien.
Okay.
Pero
Gracias.
no quiero que se me rompa. I don't want it to break on me. I don't want that it should break on me. Eso, sí. Bien. Vale. Bueno, otro ejemplo. Otro ejemplo. Nada, nada, nada. Nothing else. Ok. Bien. Uh, that's an oddball, but I want you to kind of hear what the seme might be with that one thing, because we talk about things breaking on us quite often. Wow, lo siento mucho. You know what? This was a good exercise. It was a tough one. We're going to hold over our video till next week and our reaction thing. So I am going to give you a new video. Um, um, but we will have to delay and take our questions on the video with the Vuelvo a la España, am I going back to Spain thing. So we'll have to hold those for next week. That little file I sent you with recuerdos, with, remembering memories of childhood memories. We'll reserve that again for next week. That's okay. Bien. Vale, and I think, I will have to decide. You will still need an activity to do for the week, yeah? Um, I will give you a choice. Would you like a storytelling video or would you like a mini movie? A mini movie, an actual movie made by a movie maker that tells a little story. It's a cute story, if you choose that. It's a factor.
The movie.
The movie.
Sí,
Movie
dale.
is a kind of a neat, okay. So we are going to come back to the Español con Juan. Yeah, the guy talking about his childhood, and then you guys talking about your childhood. So do bring that in. But I am going to give you a listening video. Probably no questions with that because just a video to listen to for the story and seeing if you understand the story. And it's an interesting story because the story told from a different point of view. It's going to be an inanimate object telling the story. I guess you could think like the movie Cars. The little cars have a life. Yeah, it's kind of like that, only with a very common object. You'll see what it's about. It's fun. It's a fun little movie. Okay. Todo bien? All good? Bring your childhood memories thing for next week, por favor. Sorry we didn't get to that, but you know what? You had a lot of good questions, and vale la pena. It is worth the effort to go through those questions because that's what you were supposed to work. Okay, todo
This
bien.
was a really good class, Marilyn, because a lot of the other people's questions, I have those same ones, and it helps to.
If you have a question, it means 3 or 4 people have the same question, but they didn't raise their hand to ask it. So,
Well, and
yeah.
on that note, I mean, I don't know. I, for one, could use more practice on this. It's starting to sink in, but it's still like something I have to think through so much to get the words out or to think about it.
This particular, yeah.
kind of what you just said, Karen. Most of us have been in Maryland's class here for, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 years. And we've probably talked about direct and indirect objects 2 or 3 times. And each time, to me, it feels like I'm learning something new because I don't use it enough, and it's not always all that simple.
Yeah. And the questions you have are always somewhat contrived in a way, but then, this is one of those situations, this pronoun use thing is a situation where it comes up all the time when you want to convey an idea. And each situation is kind of novel, kind of new. And, it's the thing of like, it's like the batter anticipating what's the ball gonna, what kind of, yeah, Mark will appreciate this.
Yeah.
What's that pitch gonna look like when it comes across the home plate?
Now,
It's like that. See,
let me add a comment that my recollection is that, I don't think you've done this in a while, but for a while, almost every week, you were giving us like some articles to read. And those articles are written with, typically they had like a lot of use of these pronouns that sort of reinforced this particular topic.
yeah, see, Asa, true.
Just even if you got like we did with the esto and the esta, you had a little worksheet
Yeah.
You had to, I don't know if there's anything like that, that might be helpful.
Yeah. And I hope I answered your questions, by the way,
You did,
Mariana, with
you
that.
did. Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. That was kind of a funky thing. Yeah. Bien. Okay. Todo bien. Are we all good with that? See?
Sí.
Bien. Okay. Because I know people will probably have to take off and do other things with their day. So, okay. Muy bien. Muy bien. You'll get a fun story and great. Sí, nos vemos.
Adiós.
Adiós.